need to actually engage it. Low tech. One of the drills that you can do, it's called a, everyone's familiar with PNF, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. There is the stretching paradigm. There's also the movement paradigm, all right, for rehab. So for the scapula,
I'm a nice guy. He'll be fine. Therapist in here, right?
Okay. So when you're side lying, right there, so push out. Okay, push down, push out, push down. There we go. Good. So getting the lower half involved. Okay. Hand placement. Typically you want to be at mid-sternal or nipple line. Males, it's right across that line there. Okay. So what you want to be able to do, everything is in neutral. Okay. Head is sitting neutral as well. Turn your palm over. Push down. Push down. There we go. Push down. What you want them to do with their shoulder blade, when he's lying down, if I'm him right now, you want to go up and down, all right, and then forward and backwards, all right? So you end up creating a cross pattern of activity, okay? So what you do is push down, push your knee down, push down, push down, push, 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 tighten, okay? That's it, push down. What you get him to do, bring your shoulder up, back down, pull through, push forward, push backwards. Okay? So you're going into protraction, retraction. So when he brings his elbow forward, it's a protraction. When you bring it back, it's a retraction. Okay? Some people don't know how to do that. So what you have to do, so phase one is hold it there and push. Hold it there, don't let me push. Isometrically engage it. Alright? Especially with those who have really bad shoulder blades and they don't know what they're doing. Push back, push, push, push. Hold it there. Push forward. Go on, push, 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 push. Right there. Good. And that's it. Use everything. Good. So that's the forward protraction, retraction. The other one that you'll do, the hand push down, the elbow has to stay still, is you round out and back. So they elevate and then they depress. Okay? Back and forth. And the idea is that when they do it, the elbow doesn't move. And again, if they have problems trying to initiate that movement, you hold the elbow still and you push. And you go a bit greater through range, right? Just to stimulate it. So if they don't know how to move, right, do the isometrics first. Alright? If they know how to move and they have some idea of how to do the patterns, then allow them to actually do the dynamic portion of it. Okay? But the idea is, and the concept that I want you to understand from this is, it's not about the shoulder blade, it's about you using everything. Okay? I put people in this position just so you can actually use the glutes. Alright? If you want to use the groin, that's fine. Get them there. Squeeze your knees together. Squeeze them. And you can do it that way as well. Pick your poison. As long as everything is engaged from top to bottom, I'm okay. Alright? The idea is get this to pay attention before you actually do anything here. Alright? And that would be the idea. So, if it's brute effort and they don't have a clue what they're doing, up to 5 repetitions. If they know what they're doing, they have some idea, okay? Give them that higher volume, that 15 to 20 range. Right? Try to instill things, but you're working to the level of the brain. Alright, so that is a PNF pattern for the shoulder blade. This is a very effective drill because it's closed chain, meaning that there's multiple contacts on the floor that the brain can now use as input to now use the shoulder blade. Because it knows where it is in space, and then it knows how to move because there's enough muscle force. Okay? Good, so that's PNF. Alright, thanks, buddy.
Alright, so the next exercise we'll go over anterior core. And with regards to biasing some of the palliatives that may have helped. So we'll get you in position. So So what you can do with this is you can use a pulley, you can use a rubber band, you can get them. We'll actually start with both. We're going to start with both hands. Sure. So if we notice there was problems with both, what we can get them to do is press up and move forward, back down. So we start to produce that anti-extension exercise through that. To make it more difficult, depending on what we found, maybe the left, when we started getting to that single arm raise, was more difficult. We get them to start to do that. So by putting one hand up in the air, what that does is it not only adds in that anti-extension, but it also adds in an anti-rotation element to it as well. Does that make sense? Because the body wants to get pulled this way, and now he has to actually resist that motion. So we're adding that element. So going back to that protocol, if they were coming back and they kept rotating through it, this would be a great exercise to challenge that. Now, we start adding in the component of, so let's say the abduction made that easier. Hopefully you guys are using the palliatives. Where you can get them to sit up in is a lunge position. We'll get one hand up overhead. And now we can start even getting him now to just come on up and down into a lunge. Okay? So we start loading glutes and core. So again, more moving parts with this. Okay? Very, very difficult to exercise. If you want to get as crazy as you want, like I don't have to just pull it from here. I can move this way. I can move this way. So I can challenge his system in various ways depending on what happens. So I can add in this type of, I guess, perturbation it would be through this pattern. So you can start to see how the palliatives are going to guide what you're going to do with your clients. So if that abduction helped, you would do that. You know, you can get them going into lateral, so even like a lateral lunge with the band pulling behind them to get more adductor activation in that anti-extension moment that you were creating. So again, use your palliatives to guide what you're going to do with your rehab. Does that make sense to everybody? So again, these are just some of our recommendations. You can do whatever you guys do. Good?
Yeah.
One more protocol before lunch?
Sure. Sure.
Okay, so with the lower extremity, we did squat. With this one, we're just bringing up that center of gravity. So for those of you, most of you guys were here for the lower extremity seminar. There are a few of you that weren't. What we're going to do with this protocol is, again, with everything we do, set up is short foot, get them centrated, toes pointed slightly outwards, about shoulder width, just further than shoulder width apart, as opposed to the lower extremity where the arms are across the chest. Now what we're going to do is we're going to raise that center of gravity up overhead, and you can guess what we're going to do next. We're going to squat. From here, again, just like what we were looking for, you know, I'm going to click on the slide. You can see. We're going to look just like we did for the lower extremity, inability to maintain neutral spine, foot ankle strategy, heel off the ground, knee valgosity, same criteria as before. With this one, what you also do want to pay attention for is the head side to side, the arms dropping as well. Key is get them to lock up overhead, and again, depending on the sport or the athlete is going to determine the significant amount of a depth you're going to get into the squat. So if they're somebody, an Olympic lifter who has to get up overhead, you're going to get them ass to grass, okay? And I guess in Taiwan, everybody's unbelievable at getting down just perfectly. But in North America, we're absolutely garbage. So you're going novice player, they don't have to get down that, you'll get about to that 90-degree level. So you're going to get them about here. What you're looking for with this, that inability to maintain neutral spine, is very important with this one, because now, just like what we did with the T4, just like what we did with the reverse Nordic, that hand going up overhead, we want to make sure that they're not hyperextending through that TL junction. Okay? So this is very, very important protocol that can be done. So it's here again, short foot, knees slightly turned out, arms up overhead, neutral spine. You can add a little bit of a chin retraction or chin tuck, and you're going to get them all the way down and all the way back up. Viewing from the front, viewing from the side, and viewing from the back. Okay? Again, back to everything. For those of you who weren't here for the lower extremity seminar, foot ankle strategy is when the toes start to come off the ground. Heel off the ground. As they go down, you'll see the heels actually come off the ground. Medial arch drop collapse. So when you start to see the foot come in, foot flare. What that means is when they go down, you'll see the foot start to kick out. Okay? So it flares out. The reason it typically does that is, again, it might be a lack of dorsiflexion, so this range of motion in the ankle. So your body will compensate and find a way to get down lower, and you'll start to see this. With regards, and going back again with coupled motion, if this foot starts to collapse in, you'll typically see not just one strategy, you'll typically see two strategies with it. Arch will drop, knee will follow in, and all the way up the chain, typically, okay? So you're not just looking at one thing and you're trying to put it together. With regards to the palliatives, just to refresh, foot strategy, you can actually flick the toes as your palliative maneuver for that. A medial arch drop collapse, again, turn the knees out, flick the big toe. That way we can engage that short foot. You can even add in, if the knees buckle in, you're pushing in, get them to push out to resist. If you're thinking it's a dorsiflexion issue, come into the popliteal crease and push forward. So nice and easy, just to see, you can get a little bit of that translation in through there. And again, you can even start to shift the pelvis to maintain that neutral spine as they go up for it. So again, we start to see the redundancy between all the tests that we're doing. Okay? Any questions, comments, concerns? We got this? So it's about 12 o'clock now, so we'll get through this protocol and then we'll go grab lunch. Good? Okay, so let's break off and let's try the overhead squat. The regression from this